I knew God wanted me to go to law school, and I assumed that once I went to law school, that meant a career in law. But I found that as I've followed his steps, he's opened different doors for me that have taken me places I never thought I would go. When I was young, probably about 14 or so, I surrendered my life to do whatever I felt God wanted me to do. There was a preacher who preached on a sermon about living a more abundant life, and it was through that sermon that I had surrendered my life. Obviously, going to Christian college, there's a lot of different preachers that I can point to that have shaped me along the way. And so early on, he really impressed me that I needed to go to law school. So I made a lot of plans for going to law school and made assumptions about what that looked like. If I had pursued a career on my own and not really tried to figure out or listen to what I thought God wanted me to do, and just made my own decisions on what made the most sense at the time, I'd probably still be working for a major corporation. I was working for Rite Aid during my time working and going to school at law school, and I really enjoyed the corporate environment. My whole life, when I had an opportunity to teach, I took it. When I went in the Army and went to Alaska, I was asked to by peers that they wanted to learn more from me from that, and I started a Bible study there. So I think there was always something in me that enjoyed teaching, that enjoys discipleship, that enjoys learning myself and then being able to pass on what I've learned to others. Opportunity came to teach at WCA, and by the time we were done talking with both Mr. Van Bose and looking at the staff and seeing the church, my wife and I really felt that this is what God wanted me to do next. So that's how I got into teaching. I think my background's different because I was doing a lot of different things unrelated to teaching, educator. But as the opportunity came, I've enjoyed being an educator. God opens doors, and you can't just discount those doors, even though they don't fall into what you believe or envision God doing with you. And that's what happened here at WCA. He opened a door, and by the time we had looked at it and kind of stuck our head through, we realized this was a door we had to go all the way through. Well, it certainly has changed my view of being a teacher. I guess you always see teachers and you think, well, they got so many days off and they've got summers off and they've got this time off, but you don't appreciate how much work and effort goes in every day behind the scenes. Like I think I was prepared for it because as an attorney, you've got all this prep work that you're used to doing anyway to get a case ready or get yourself prepared to answer somebody's legal question. But in teaching, there's a lot of that too. There's a lot of prep work that goes on to it. So I'm hoping I'm bringing a larger picture to history than they're used to having, and it's not just memorize this fact and memorize that fact, but I'm hoping to bring in a lot of context to their studies. I think that my approach to the Bible changed some in that, not that it changed my willingness to accept it for what it says, but my ability to look at what it says and then pull out further implications. So as an attorney, you're not only knowing what the facts are of the case, you're always looking at what are the implications, how would it impact if I put that same fact somewhere else, how is that going to get impacted? And so taking biblical principles and being able to see that, okay, it works in this scenario, but it's also going to work here, here, and here, or it impacts us because of this, and this is also true. So being able to see beyond just the straight pages of the Bible to the further implications. So, and you can read the stories a little bit better so that you can you start kind of filling in some of the facts that are missing, but you know they have to be true because you understand investigation, because you do a lot of investigation, a lot of behind the scene thinking of, okay, if this happened, this and this should have happened as well in order to reach this point. So you see a lot more of that as I feel as an attorney, and you think of things through logically and conclusively. So that part, that willingness to think through the implications of everything you're reading. I enjoy the opportunity to help bring an understanding to others and to hopefully pass on not only just a secular idea of what will take the area that I'm teaching in history of what the facts are and what they are, but to bring in the fact that, hey, behind all of this, there are consequences that happens from decisions that sometimes take 20 or 30 years to show up, but they're there. And so you say something like all the chaos that we're seeing now. When you start looking at history, you can start saying, hey, a lot of this chaos, those seeds were sown in this decade, in this decade. We were just teaching about the 1920s, and you talk about stuff there. You can see how some of the decisions made in the 1920s affect even what's going on 100 years later. So I think that I enjoy that aspect of trying to pull out and help students see a larger picture and to think critically, to not just accept stuff that they're taught, but to think it through. Okay, if what I'm being taught is true, how does that apply to my world? And does it still ring true once I make that application?